Welcome back. One step closer to Republican debates. That stage is pretty crowded, as you can see there. North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum reaches a new fundraising requirement. But how can he set himself apart from other candidates? Joining us now is North Dakota Governor and 2024 presidential candidate Doug Burgum. Governor, it's great to have you on the program. I want to dig right into energy policy with you because, you know, before President Trump was in office, North Dakota was up and coming. Once President Trump arrived, your state had really arrived. What has President Biden's energy policy and regulation done to the revenues that your state is seeing?
Well, first of all, Brian, Jackie, Kelly, thanks for having me on, but fantastic question. The Biden energy policy doesn't just need a course correction, it needs a 180-degree turn. In our administration, the first thing we do is start selling energy to our allies and stop buying it from our adversaries. And it's even more just front and center in the last couple of weeks. I mean, we've had Blinken and Yellen both going to China, and I haven't seen one story that they talk to China about energy. China imports over 10 million barrels of oil a day. They're the largest importer of oil and gas in the world. They're completely dependent on outside sources for energy. USA could be a huge energy powerhouse if the Biden administration weren't trying to shut down the U.S. industry. And I'm talking about our electrical baseload. I'm talking about oil and gas. I'm talking about selling clean U.S. natural gas, even to places like New England, where you can't get a pipeline permitted in this country to get to New England. So at the time Russia invaded Ukraine, there was 400,000 barrels of oil a day of dirty Russian heating oil coming into New England to heat their homes. Everybody in New England's paying too much for energy. People are paying too much for electricity. And the policy is just 100% backwards. And you go talk to a family in Williston, North Dakota, that's out of work because of Biden administration policies at the same time the State Department was going to Venezuela, a place that doesn't even have an EPA, but they're saying that, we're shutting down energy here because it's good for the environment, when it's just being replaced by people that produce energy. If you care about the environment, you would want to have every drop of energy produced in America.
And Governor, you just brought up the electrical baseload. I want to follow up on that because I was just reading a new study revealing that EVs will make our grid more prone to blackouts, maybe even pose a national security risk. You know, you have your hand on the pulse of rural America. What does that mean for folks in your neck of the woods?
Well, North Dakota, we're a huge baseload electricity producer, and there's large grids, multi-state grids. We ship electricity west through SPP. We ship it east through MISO. If you don't have baseload power, then all the renewables in the world are not going to prevent us from having blackouts and brownouts. But the absolute almost insanity of a policy that says that we're going to have 500,000 EV charging stations subsidized by federal government printing money. Then we're going to subsidize the vehicles, the electric vehicles. Oh, and by the way, China produces 85% of the rare earth minerals in the world. So we'd be just trading OPEC for Sinopec if we're going to go all EV. But guess what? You can't get a transmission line permitted in the United States. I mean, even in the Northeast, there was 100% Quebec green hydro power line that 10 years hasn't been able to get a permit. Wow. So it doesn't make any sense with physics. It doesn't make any sense with economics. It doesn't make any common sense. And it doesn't make any sense in terms of global stability and national security to be pursuing the strategy of going all EV when we can decarbonize liquid fuels. We're doing that in North Dakota. We're decarbonizing baseload. We can decarbonize oil and gas. We can decarbonize ethanol for sustainable aviation fuel. Innovation, not regulation, is the path for American security in the future.
Governor, while we have you, I want to get your take on the controversy surrounding Jason Aldean's music video, Try That in a Small Town. Country artist seems to speak to values like you'd find in a small town in North Dakota. What's your reaction?
Well, hey, I grew up in Arthur, North Dakota with 300 people, and growing up in that town, I know how that works. I mean, you've got accountability, you've got transparency. Everybody knows, where you are, what you do, and the whole thing. And that's why, we built a global company with kids from 220 small towns in North Dakota. We built it from less than 10 to 2,000 employees. We had customers in 132 countries. The hard work, the accountability that comes from people that have those values. And so, I say, go Jason Aldean. I mean, it's he's singing a song that rings true in the state of North North Dakota. And I know it from being on the ground in Iowa, New Hampshire. It certainly would ring true in those small towns as well.
And I'm glad you brought up the economic angle, because at the end of the day, peace and prosperity go hand in hand. And I think that's what the song's actually getting to at heart. We got to leave it there. Governor Burgum, thanks for being with us.
Great. Thank you all.
All right.